Today on Here for the Right Reasons, Maddie Pruitt reveals all on newlywed life.
So it's just been, that's just been fun, like getting to know like how different a man's and woman's brain is and just our different expectations.
Plus, Kaitlyn Bristowe accuses Shawn Booth of using her during their relationship. And Gabby still has some thoughts on Zach, and Tayshia and Luke from Summer House are heating up. We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly Deputy Editor Sarah Heron, and welcome to another big week of Here for the Right Reasons. Lots of Bachelor news this week, plus a Summer House Bachelor crossover.
I'm very intrigued by the Summer House Bachelor crossover. I cannot wait to get to that. But as we always say, these people, they give us things to talk about. The world is always turning within Bachelor Nation.
So true. And you guys are always commenting too, so let's see what you had to say. Elle Marston says, this isn't the first time the lead who knew they were going to pick and put the runner up through the torture of rejection. So true. It's happened before. Hasn't really happened in a little while, but poor Gabby. Still reeling from this.
Yes, and I think we'll get to her maybe again later on. But Kathy said, I didn't watch this season, just watch the recaps. Too much producer manipulation. I have been a fan since 2002, and it feels like the contestants are now either going on for Instagram followers or they either seem like they become insecure and mentally distraught. Oof.
I mean, but a lot of people have been more outspoken, I feel, about like their mental health after leaving the show. Like Clayton has, Susie has, and it really does. It takes its toll, it seems like.
Yeah, I had a long conversation with Ben Higgins yesterday for the Here for the Reasons podcast. Guys, go check it out. And we were talking about just like the Gabby again, like how hard it was to watch her. And the difference between like watching something for fun and watching like someone be in actual pain. And the Gabby stuff just felt like it wasn't fun to watch. And he agreed with what we were saying. And I was just like, we got to find the line of getting to like laugh and kind of maybe poke fun or like watch drama without like ruining lives.
Right. No, it's so true. There has to be like, you got to find some balance somewhere here. We've been saying this week after week, something's got to change about the show. And maybe now with Mike Fleiss out as like the helm of the show, maybe things will change a little bit. Maybe formats will change, but we'll have to wait and see. But let's get into our news of the week. And Kaitlyn Bristowe was sitting down with her fiance, talking about her ex-fiance. They were talking about, and she said that she believes that her ex, Shawn Booth, used her for professional gain. She asked, this is all just from my point of view and from how I felt and things that I saw. It doesn't mean they're right or wrong, but would you or would you not agree that when couples come off the show, whether it was a Bachelor and the woman who picked or Bachelorette and the guy she picked, that this is really a hard foundation to start in a power struggle? I feel like a lot of people have talked about that as well and said that it is kind of like a power struggle. He agreed, saying, Jason agreed, saying that personally, professionally, financially, it is close to impossible for a couple to last on the foundation set by The Bachelor. She added, so I think men sometimes get emasculated by the Bachelorette coming off the show with all these opportunities. They're like, we want Kaitlyn there, and well, Shawn can come too, or maybe not. Maybe it's just Kaitlyn, or it's the two of us together. It was always, if I was there, then he was invited. And I think that on top of already feeling emasculated on the show, where you're not the only one and there's other relationships building, and you thought it was the whole time, and then you realize it wasn't. How does the relationship even work after that? She went on to then say, but it was like getting down to the end where we both just didn't see it going anywhere, and I felt like he was hanging on until his gym opened, and that's where I felt used professionally. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, those two have had some choice words for each other over the last couple of years. It feels like the farther they get away from the relationship, maybe the more honest, or hindsight's 2020, a little shady here and there. I do think that everything we do know about Shawn Booth, which isn't a lot, I don't know him personally, he definitely always had issues with her sleeping with Nick Viall. He, has stayed out of the public eye, but I feel like maybe struggled with Kaitlyn's, success. She's arguably one of the most, if not the most successful post-show personality in recent years. I mean, I think she has the most Instagram followers. You could argue Rachel Lindsay's obviously up there. Nick Viall has insane podcast downloads, but she's definitely in like the top 5 of most famous and successful leads. And that does create an interesting power dynamic, not only from the show, but between a man and a woman who's making more money. And it was actually a really interesting conversation because I listened to part 2, and she was talking about when she was negotiating to be the Bachelorette, they initially only offered her $40,000. And then she was like, I want what Chris Soules made. And she didn't say the number, but I know the numbers for the Bachelors have been closer to like 100, 150.
There's difference.
Yeah, which is a huge difference. And she also hired an entertainment lawyer to make sure that if they picked Britt, Kaitlyn would still get some sort of money. And she said she later found out that Britt maybe didn't do that, so she would not have made as much money as Kaitlyn did. So that's crazy. And she revealed that the final four in Dancing with the Stars make the same amount of money. So if you make it to the finale, you get the same amount of money. And the mirror ball costs $10,000 to make.
Wow, who knew? That's
some interesting factoids from Trading Secrets.
Interesting facts. Who you would think that if you won Dancing with the Stars, you get a little bonus. But I guess
I think it's if you make it to the final, you get paid per week, and if you make it to the finals, you're in the same amount of episodes, whether your name is called at the end or not.
True. That's true. Hey, well, I guess it doesn't matter if you win the mirror ball or not. You're still getting paid.
Unless you want to sell it for 10 grand.
That's true. That is true.
And she also said that her ring, she still has the Sean Booth ring. Technically, before you sell it, you have to give Neil Lane an option to buy it back from you.
Oh, interesting.
And she was like, I don't know what to do with it. But she said he was like pushing her to guess how much she thinks she could get for it. And she was like, I don't know, like 30 grand.
Yeah.
So just some interesting numbers over there. But speaking of Kaitlyn, she, on her podcast, Off the Vine, they're quite the podcasting duo, that Jason and Kaitlyn. She had Gabby on, Zach's runner-up, and she spoke about how she doesn't hold grudges or have resentment towards Zach, but she's still struggling to move past what went down. So I don't know when this taped, but it was released on April 6th, which was like a week and a half after the finale. She said, do I think I'm going to be like pals with Zach? No. Am I still angry and hurt? Absolutely. But is he hopefully going to marry one of my close friends? And I plan to stay in Katie's life. And for me to hold hate towards him and anger and resentment, I'm hoping I can let that go at some point. But I do think at this point, I still feel violated and I'm still getting over all of it. She said that she wants what's best for Katie and Zach. She's not trying to be mean or hurt anyone. And she had said before that she thinks what Zach has been saying in his interviews was maybe to try to save his relationship with Katie. When asked more specifically by Kaitlyn whether she's over Zach, who we know is now in Austin with Katie, Gabby said, I think I thought I was over him. But when you leave the bubble and you're saying goodbye for good, right? You can't call him. You can't text him. I'm not hitting him up on Instagram. He's with one of my best friends. I knew they were together and I wouldn't have wanted to reach out to him anyways. But then watching it back is definitely more difficult because I saw it from all points of view. And it's also like, wait, what is this? What is that true? Kind of implying that the edit and some of the things she saw upset her, maybe opened up some of the floodgates of her feelings. Obviously, she wasn't going to reach out. I think just saying getting closure in the Bachelor world is a little difficult. And both Gabby and Ariel from their interviews seem to have pretty strong feelings from Zach, which is kind of a shock.
It is kind of a shock. I am really surprised by all of this. It seems like they really did have somewhat of a, did have a connection with him and they did have feelings for him. And he really put her through the ringer. He really, really did. This poor girl went through a lot. But the fact that she's still such good friends with Katie, I just don't see that how you can really sustain a friendship like that moving forward, but hopefully they can. It's just such a weird dynamic.
I know. And the more time will go by and it'll end. But if they do press or want to kind of keep the Bachelor hype going, Gabby's going to be answering questions about Zach forever. They obviously answer a lot of questions about Gabby. And I mean, they have said that they're stronger than any of this, but in that interview, she was just like, am I going to be friends with Zach? No. So maybe Katie's just going to be one of these people who's good at keeping things separate, kind of compartmentalizing the way the Bachelor has to, at least until the dust settles. And you see, when Katie and Zach completely move on and get their life going, maybe this will be a thing in the past and she will stay close with Gabby. But to me, that would be hard.
Yeah, very hard. I don't think I can do it. Well, in happier Bachelor news, Bachelor alum Teddy Wright, she's engaged 3 months after going public with her boyfriend, Nicholas. She posted on Instagram saying, I'm engaged and feel so blessed. I get to spend forever with my best friend. I've been crying for days since it happened and it still feels like a dream. A lot of Bachelor Nation congratulated her, including Serene and her fiance, Brandon, said that we love it. She, of course, made her debut on Clayton's season. She was eliminated in week 7. Then she went on Bachelor in Paradise. She left the beach in tears after accepting a rose from Andrew. They haven't been, at least they haven't been public for that long. She hinted back in December that she had a new sweet little boy in her life and they made their relationship public in the new year. So happy for them. Who knows when they started dating, but it seems a little fast.
I know. It's fascinating. Teddy reposted Us Weekly's story and was like, just to make this clear, I didn't start dating 3 months ago. I can't believe it's only been 3 months since I went public. But Paradise aired in October, was still airing in October.
Yeah.
So it's harder for audience. It taped in summer. aired in the fall, she debuted this guy in December, now they're engaged. So clearly it feels fast. I think it is obviously less than a year. It's still growing in status.
Totally.
We knew Teddy was also very open about religion and saving herself for marriage. And I mean, I don't know if we're transitioning to Maddie Pruitt, but that is, something that, not yet, but that is something that we see sometimes when people are prioritizing their faith in relationships, that maybe they move a little quickly, or maybe she's just, when you know.
Yeah.
I wonder what Andrew thinks of this, because obviously Andrew and Teddy were like the thing everyone was shipping this time last year, and it quickly fell apart in paradise.
Very, very quickly, very quickly. But happy for her. Hopefully she has a beautiful engagement, and excited to see what her wedding will look like.
Yeah, no reason not to root for Teddy. She was good during her little short run on the show.
Definitely.
But speaking of couples, former Bachelorette Tayshia Adams, who we obviously all know, and Summer House's Luke, who has on a couple seasons of Summer House, dabbled in the Winter House game, Bravo fans know him well, are fueling romance rumors after they were spotted getting cozy at an Easter Sunday celebration. In a sense-deleted pic shared via Instagram by Lindsay Hubbard, who is Luke's former co-star, they could be seen standing very close to each other. Luke is kind of huddling over Tayshia and holding her hand. The duo have sparked speculation over the last few weeks, and they posted this group picture with Lindsay, Carl, Chris, and Andrea from Summer House. And after the picture started getting attention, Lindsay deleted it, reposted it with Tayshia and Luke cropped out, and said, well, this is awkward.
I love that.
Two things here. So Lindsay Hubbard, first of all, somebody else posted this picture already. Like, it was like one of the other friends who isn't as in the public eye. So it was already getting attention. But then Lindsay hopped on, posted the picture, and clearly heard from Tayshia or Luke and said, take this down, which makes it worse, in my opinion.
It makes it so much worse. And they were also on like her Instagram stories. Like, she was like posting videos of them in their apartment. So like, clearly they're together, and they were spotted out like going out for dinner. I like this. I mean, he recently was dating Ashley Darby from Bravo Housewives of Potomac. So I don't know. It seems like he's moved on over to The Bachelorette.
It surprises me that Tayshia would go with another reality star, because she, Zach has been very mum about her public life, and to link up with somebody else who has public notoriety is going to increase speculation and eyes on you. It doesn't surprise me that Luke would like slide into Tayshia's DMs or reach out to her, because like you said, Ashley Darby, we watched him on Summer House. He's tried to bond with Winter House people. Like, it hasn't necessarily always worked.
Right.
And Tayshia, I feel like, has been very strategic about what she has and hasn't shared. So this is Luke having to probably watch himself too with what he's sharing, because in the past that wasn't something he necessarily was doing. So would be fascinated to see if these two made a real run at it. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And also, he lives in like Minnesota. She lives in New York. So who knows? I mean, he was making long distance work with Ashley. So he seems to like that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, to get into some of our Bachelor talk, in case you didn't see it go viral on TikTok, I caught up with Maddie Pruitt recently, and we spoke a little bit about her new fashion line with Tupshi, and that's what was kind of getting attention, her modest bathing suits. Mm-hmm. But we also talked about her newlywed life. She obviously got married around 4.5 months ago. She'll tell you. And I asked her how things are going. So here's what Mrs. Trout had to say. Tell me a little bit about newlywed life. Congratulations. How has marriage been?
Thank you.
What are the best parts?
Marriage is the best. I mean, we have been just growing and learning so much. He is truly my best friend in the whole world. And it's so funny, the day you say I do, you just have no idea, like, day-to-day life after that. We waited until marriage, and we didn't live together before. And so there's just been a ton we've learned and a ton we've just like grown in, which has just been so fun. I mean, we have the best time just like laughing and dancing around the house, just being silly and goofy. But also he has just been such, just so intentional, and he truly makes me better. And he prays over us every single night before we go to sleep, and just asks me good intentional questions, and just really pushes me and helps me be the best that I can be. And so truly it's been like the greatest adventure and the greatest gift. And I mean, we're 4.5 months in, and so we're obviously still learning so much. But we really, we're so grateful that we have such good community around us. And so we have, people, even mentors and people we look up to, that we're constantly just asking questions, and asking them to pray for us and encourage us. And so we're really grateful to have like good people around us too, as we're learning and growing in our own marriage.
living with anyone is an adjustment, obviously. And I know you guys waited to live together. Has there been either on like a super fun thing or something like silly, even it's like, oh, I didn't expect you to, do your dishes this way. Like anything fun like that you learned about each other?
I think I didn't have brothers. So like, I'm just learning the male brain. I'm like, wait, this is how you think? This is what goes through your mind. So I think just honestly, in general, just being around a male, I'm just so used to being around females all the time. Lived with like my best friend right before this for 2 years, and then living with my sisters. So it's just been, that's just been fun. Like getting to know like how different a man's and woman's brain is, and just our different expectations. And so that has just been fun to learn how to communicate. I think within the first month, I wasn't the best at learning how to communicate my expectations. And so I would just have these expectations, and he's like, well, you never told me. And I'm like, well, that's a good point. So we're just learning how to communicate, wants, needs, expectations, and all that.
Love to see it. What was their line? Tricky. What was the tricky trout or something like that?
Trizzy Trout. Like, I'm going to be this Trizzy Trout, and they're listening to Drake in the car. I mean, to each their own.
To each their own. Well, it seems like she's happy. Megan, I'm sure she's going to be having some babies sometime soon too.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, let's get into our social media spotlight of the week. Mine went to Justin Glaze because he posted a video of him and Rodney and Andrew and a bunch of other people from Bachelor Nation. They were hanging out over Easter. So it seems like a lot of these guys are still really good friends.
Yeah. I mean, Susie was in there, and Kaitlyn was commenting like, oh, I've been replaced, like kind of joking. Always interesting to see those two still interacting, and, gotta love when Bachelor Nation gets together.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Here for the Right Reasons. Like Sarah said, you can check out her full interview with Ben Higgins on the Here for the Right Reasons podcast. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.